If you're wondering why you will not be getting that sweet, juicy stimulus check, look no further than the Democrats. And it's funny to say, but it's legit. The story from the Hill. Senate Democrats block mammoth coronavirus stimulus package. I saw this story, I saw it going around the other night. Take a look at this from the Hill. 328,767 shares. I think Democrats are in serious trouble in November. So you know why they were able to stop this in the Senate? Because several Republicans are quarantined for having coronavirus. So because of this, the Democrats were able to say no to the Republican package, and then they said they were going to draft their own. Shocking. Look, I don't know if the Republican package is perfect, but I think we're at a point now where we need to rush things out. Donald Trump tweeted last night, "In the next 15 days, we will assess where we are to figure out if the cure is worse than the problem itself. Maybe we'll reopen everything and get back to work." Of course, he faced a lot of criticism for this. What are we supposed to do? If the economy is locked down, people are going to lose their lives as well. We need to make sure that we don't destroy lives in an effort to save some lives. We've got to weigh, how bad it's going to be, and will the cure be worse? So in 15 days, it makes sense to stop and reassess. It doesn't mean we reopen the country. It means we look at the data and see how we're doing. Well, Republicans wanted to get you a check in the meantime. I believe it was for like $1,200 or something. Bernie Sanders has called for more, but apparently, instead of being around to actually vote on it, Bernie Sanders, I guess, was at a rally? Yeah, but the Democrats were still able to block it. The Hill reports Senate Democrats on Sunday blocked a coronavirus stimulus package from moving forward as talks on several key provisions remain stalled. Senators voted 47-47 on advancing a shell bill, a placeholder that the text of the stimulus legislation would have been swapped into, falling short of the 3/5 threshold needed to advance the proposal. Hopes of a quick stimulus deal quickly unraveled on Sunday as the four congressional leaders and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin failed to break the impasse. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell also delayed the procedural vote for 3 hours as they tried to get a deal. Democratic senators argue that the GOP bill includes several non-starters and walks back areas of agreement, such as expanding unemployment insurance. They thought they had reached with Republicans. Yes, because you may have seen the story. I find it fascinating. The progressives were in agreement with Trump and the Republicans. A hard check delivered to every American. The Democrats, like Chuck Schumer and Pelosi, said, no, we need unemployment insurance, at odds with both the progressives and the Republicans, which is kind of crazy to see that Pelosi and Schumer, well, it's not really crazy. Look, the establishment Democrats get ripped apart by the progressives all the time. But there was a really funny tweet from Andrew Yang supporters saying they're in a difficult position. They're in agreement with Donald Trump's plan to cut a check for every American. It's similar to Andrew Yang's principal policy position, the UBI. It's not, but it's similar. And it was the Democrats saying no. So now let's just read. They emerged from a closed-door lunch fuming over the bill circulated by Republicans and called for McConnell to hold off on the 3 p.m. cloture vote. "We are pleading with McConnell not to call this vote," Senator Dick Durbin told the number two Senate Democrat said after the lunch. "It's a serious mistake. We have not negotiated this to the point of an agreement yet." Senator Doug Jones, who is up for re-election in a deeply red state, said that the Senate needed to be as unified as possible. "We don't need split votes." Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts added that the proposal put forward by Republicans was totally inadequate. That resulted in McConnell delaying the vote to 6 p.m. The vote eventually moved forward with 5 GOP senators absent. Rand Paul announced Sunday morning that he had tested positive for the virus and would self-quarantine. That led to 2 Republican colleagues he had interacted with, Mitt Romney and Mike Lee, announcing they would also self-quarantine. Republican Senator Cory Gardner and Rick Scott had previously said they would self-quarantine as a precaution that was unrelated to Paul's announcement. How amazing is this? Because many Republicans are out doing the right thing because they don't want to spread the coronavirus, the Democrats have shot down this relief bill that should have passed. I don't know who else you're supposed to be mad at. It was the Democrats who blocked it. And guess what? They're apparently blocking another early vote on this. It's amazing. Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer said the bill includes problematic provisions and that McConnell should have made the negotiations include both chambers and the White House from the beginning. Unfortunately, the legislation has not improved enough in the past 3 hours. McConnell appeared visibly angry as he spoke from the Senate floor after the bill failed, pledging to force the vote again. The American people are watching this spectacle. I'm told the futures market is down 5%. I'm also told that when trading stops, that's when trading stops. So the notion that we have to play games here with the American economy and the American people is utterly absurd. The American people expect us to act tomorrow. And I want everyone to fully understand if we aren't able to act tomorrow, it will be because of our colleagues on the other side continuing to dither when the country expects us to come together and address this problem. The Republicans are in the majority. They're the ones who were voted in. Most Americans agree with Trump's actions and what he's doing to deal with the coronavirus. The Democrats are obstructing, plain and simple. Now is not the time for them to say, well, because we can obstruct, we will. No. Now's the time to say, okay, we'll make your bill happen. Because I'll tell you what, if this bill doesn't go far enough and if it doesn't work, the American people will be mad at you. The only reason I can see that Democrats are blocking this is potentially they want to be the ones who claimed our bill helped everyone. They're morons. Let me repeat this for all of the Democrats. If they said yes to McConnell's bill and it was bad, they could then tout that for the next several months. Now is not the time to be playing politics. Let the Republicans push their bill through. It's ready to go. Fine. You don't like some of it? Fine. And then if it doesn't work out, you know who you blame and you know who gets voted out. This makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense to block this. Senator John Thune said that they had not formally been told that Democrats would block the bill, but acknowledged that individual members had indicated their positions. Hopefully we can get everybody on board with this thing today and get it out of here. I got to stress, man, the only reason they're able to block it is because several Republicans have bowed out because they have coronavirus. They don't want to spread it. He added, if Democrats block the bill, they better have a plan to go because we don't have plenty of time. But the outcome appeared all but guaranteed, as even members from across the Democratic caucus indicated they would vote against advancing the bill unless leadership could work out an 11th hour deal. Senator Joe Manchin called the bill the same old repeated story from Mitch McConnell. I'm not going to vote yes, then no, and this and that. If they can work out something between now and 3, that's fine. Senator Chris Van Hollen called the GOP bill bad news and said it was focused on bailing out the biggest corporations. He added that blocking the bill over the procedural hurdle could force both sides back to the negotiating table. In my view, right now, it would be giving people unrealistic hope to proceed now. We should let people know immediately that Republicans have taken a U-turn. No, I don't care. Trump said in the next 15 days, we're going to reassess and maybe we'll reopen everything. And if Congress, if the Senate and the House, they can't get the job done, then maybe we have no choice. And I think we'll have no one to blame but the Democrats. Because you know why? The Republican bill, maybe it will bail out the corporations, but we can deal with that down the road. They're in the majority. Trump is in the White House. Right now is not the time for you to be bickering. Give the Republicans they have their bill. Great. Let's make it happen. Let's get some relief to Americans who are suffering out of work and confused and worried about what they're going to be doing. No, we can't do it. Apparently, Democrats have blocked McConnell from holding a Monday morning vote on the coronavirus bill. Excellent. So there won't even be a vote on it, I suppose? Why? Why can't we just get this done? You know what? I've got no little sympathy for the Republicans as well. Now, I think it's fair to point out that it was progressives and Republicans agreeing on that stimulus check. I don't know exactly what was in the letter of this bill. I believe it was something to that effect, but they were concerned, the Democrats were, that big corporations would use this and not help the workers. They wanted more protections. I can respect that. It's fair. But you could absolutely give the Republican, throw them a bone and then use it against them. Let me show you some tweets here. Why do Americans mistrust the mainstream media? Look how the New York Times changes their headline 3 times to appease Democrats. This was the story. Democrats block action on $1.8 trillion stimulus. They then change their headline. Democrats block action on stimulus plan seeking worker protections. And finally, partisan divide threatens deal on rescue bill. They're all technically the truth. It's the best kind of the truth, isn't it? The media loves doing this. Yes, it is a partisan divide threatening the issue. But if only, and I think I could be wrong about this, they might need more votes than just the Republicans who are out. But it does seem like they're definitely taking advantage of the fact that there are Republicans unable to actually come and make this vote. Is this the time? You know what, man? Vote all of these people out. I can't stand any of them. Why are any of them having this argument right now? I don't know. Because people can't work together in a time of crisis. I gotta be honest, man. In the end, as much as I will be critical of both sides for bickering when Americans are suffering, I gotta throw a little shade at the Democrats for the simple fact that Republicans have the majority for now, and the best thing they can do is say, fine, let's make your plan work. They don't want to. Apparently, they want their own bill. Now, Michael Tracey had an interesting tweet. He said, I'm not trying to unfairly attack Bernie. He was my preferred candidate among those who realistically had a chance. But explain how it was justified for Bernie to be live streaming from Burlington with Ocasio-Cortez rather than in D.C. to vote on the most consequential bailout since 2008. Jen Perlman said the bill was garbage. He knew it. They all knew it. And we continue the dog and pony show in the face of the possibly biggest pandemic this world has ever seen. That's why. And Michael correctly states, if you believe the bill is garbage, then you can vote no on the bill. That's how it works. The next response, or you can relay an important message to millions of followers, which is about the same as voting no and accomplishes something too. Or Bernie could have voted yes. I don't like any of these people. I can't stand it. Why was Bernie out doing a campaign rally with Ocasio-Cortez? Well, apparently she's back on the campaign trail. There was some issues where apparently she was going to bow out because she didn't like the fact, this is partially it, she didn't like the fact that Bernie had touted that Joe Rogan had, propped him up. And also she was mad because she got slammed when she spoke on behalf of Bernie in Iowa while he was voting on impeachment. Let me just point out, while all of this was beginning around the world and Trump launched the coronavirus task force, which included Dr. Fauci, who people seem to like, the Democrats were trying to impeach the president. And Bernie Sanders stopped campaigning to go try and impeach the president, and it failed. It was a distraction. It was a major waste of time. If there was no impeachment, perhaps we could have focused on serious issues. Perhaps the Democrats could have gone after Trump over his coronavirus response. But these people just don't seem to get it. It's the blind leading the blind. There's no leadership. It is shockingly moronic to me. I said it before the impeachment, Ukraine gate, Russia gate. If they weren't doing this and they focused on real issues, they could be one step ahead of the game. You know what? Let me tell you something. The first story I did on the coronavirus, I said I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. I was wrong. And then about a week later, or maybe not even a week later, a few days later, when I started covering the next stories, as the story expanded, I was like, wow, this looks serious. China's overreacting. I think this is going to get bad. And of course, it did get bad. While I and people like Tucker Carlson, for instance, were saying things were going to get bad, people in media were saying it was no big deal. Democrats were criticizing Trump, calling him a bigot and a xenophobe for barring travel. Joe Biden did even recently. And now we can see that Tucker was right, Trump was right, and to an extent, I was right as well. I think it's fair to point out that I was wrong in my initial assessment of what was going to happen with this. And I think there are a lot of people who didn't expect this, but there are a lot of people who got on board quickly when they saw the signs. This was going to get bad. And once again, we are now seeing Democrats late to the party. This is not the time. But I don't know what else to expect. I've been very critical of them from the get-go for just this reason. They've been doing these same things over and over and again. Now we can see the true depth of what impeachment has wrought. Every step of the way, as they moved forward with various aspects of this investigation and impeachment in January and obstruction, we've been seeing the expansion of a deadly virus. It was started in November, we now know. The World Health Organization propped up China's lies, and then in mid-January, China said there was no human-to-human transmission, and the World Health Organization once again propped this up. And where were the Democrats? They were 2 steps behind everyone else. I don't know why, but I'll tell you what, that's why they're in the minority. It's why they're losing. And I think they are going to get obliterated in November. Take a look at this first story and let me highlight that share count for you again. The share count on the story from the Hill is not Republicans failed the stimulus package. It's Democrats block the coronavirus stimulus. Those are 320,000 shares. That is massive. Take a look at the other story about the delayed vote, 3,000. You know what this means? It means the American people are listening. And the American people don't care about why you want to block this when you could have just said, yes, give the people the money they need to get them through this. You know what I expect in November? They want to say that the economy is bad for Trump. Many media outlets are saying that Trump is just trying to get the economy kickstarted to help his campaign. I don't care. The economy is bad. People are suffering and they want action. And guess what? FDR, he was the president of the Great Depression. He won several times. I think the American people can see through this, and the shares show it on this video. The shares show us that the American people are telling a story right now that the Democrats have obstructed their chance for relief, and that will resonate in November. This is going to pass, and the economy is going to rebound, and people will not forget this, that every single time something has happened, the Democrats have flubbed it. They've made a major mistake, a major misstep, and it has backfired endlessly. I'll leave it there. Next segment will be at 1 p.m. on this channel, and I will see you all then.